Good afternoon and welcome to the Roundtable. My name is Melanie Ishola, and joining me this afternoon are Nehemiah Nwusu. Normally are the top 3 stories that we have selected for discussions. So today I begin with mass defections ignite one-party state fears, and this is one of the top stories on Punch this morning. In fact, it actually made the carry gain.
When you're having gas price going up, inflation is down.
Carry gain.
When you're having gas price going up, inflation is down.
You know, on the gas price going up, somebody says now we have enough money to buy the gas, but no money left for the food to cook with the gas that we have for construction. Because this thing seemed to have caused.
So, but it depends on the road. It depends on the road and where you're constructing from. It's not casting so that if you're doing it in Lagos to be the same thing for Ibadan or Ilorin or Bayelsa.
While that may be true, Aliyu, the question I've been issued from Rufai that really sparked this whole debate was subject to whether or not it was ethical for a role play. If I was Umahi right now, you are Rufai. So please ask me.
What did you cook this morning? How did you cook that? They didn't have that. So you see, sometimes you see the question will come.
You are Umahi. I am Rufai. Minister Umahi, please, I beg you. I want you to tell us, please. Please, I'm not
Speak of begging.
I'm saying, how do you want him to ask?
Because as journalists, we are
whatever way the question is.
Aliyu, you know, we are Thomas.
Whatever way
how do you want me to ask you this
we
question?
We are the fourth estate of the realm. There is a reason media, journalism stands.
If I can't ask you, if a journalist cannot ask the pertinent questions.
Who asks this question? Who?
So if the question is asked and you feel embarrassed about the question,
about the question,
you could, you feel embarrassed, but you owe the people, the public,
you owe
the public, the people,
to divulge this
at
information.
least give them the sense of understanding. You could make a mockery of the reporter too when you begin to explain, so that the reporter will know that he didn't do his own work well.
No, he did do his work well.
But again, when you now make a mockery of yourself, it becomes a question that, look, do you really know what you're talking about? That's why the marketing will be asking questions like, just put it to bear. And eventually he went and put it to bear in public. So these things
not until he had made some cynical comments. Because what we now have from Minister Umahi is that it takes 7.5 billion naira per kilometer.
Would that be for the coastal road or for the east-west road or for the Ilorin?
Because if you
the coastal road.
Under deliberation is the coastal road. Is the coastal road. Just as I move to the next story, I'd like to say this before we move on. Journalists are journalists because they must ask questions. I do not know who I would become as a journalist if I can no longer ask questions. And if I'm being taught how to ask the question, sometimes it begs the question, who is doing the job for me? Can I do my job? Can I really do my job? All right, House probes $35 million modular refinery project. This is interesting because this was a project that whose payment has been made from 4 years ago. Wow. And then we're circling back to say, okay, so how far? If I can go the street lingo way over. Like, how far?
How far? How far?
Like
that's the question we always ask. It's always how far. Is it right? Wrong? Tell us more about it. We want to know more.
Yeah.
So they should delve deeper.
And I think we should stay on this particular story to be able to bring it back for some deliberation when there are indeed more information in the public domain.
The major one is the refinery, the Port Harcourt Warri refinery.
Absolutely.
They should deal with that.
But this is equally important.
Of course.
Was top, priority for the country.
Yeah.
Of course.
And then you thought, of course, with the introduction of this much money, we're not talking naira.
But the
problem, $35 million.
Where I have grouse is this: there are so many probes that have been set up in recent years. What are the outcomes? They will just come up. Okay, we have started this probe, and in the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years.
So I guess this puts a responsibility on us.
Yes,
of course. For us to stay on this and be able to record
on the issues,
to our audience to say, well, this much we now know of the House probe on the modular refinery issue. Now, Senate screens new INEC chair, Amu Mitu. And of course, that just ended just before we began the roundtable this afternoon. Another reason why we moved the timing of the roundtable to ensure that we're able to stream that to our audience. Inflation drops, okay, I did take that. Yeah. And I guess it is very worthy of note to talk about the fact that the President Tinubu is under fire over his presidential pardon for drug offenders, others. And there's a big discourse.
That's a big discourse.
It's really a big discourse.
I question those things, and I wonder why some of those people were pardoned.
My question is, when we're now able to pardon like that in criminal cases, what are we saying to those who are essentially trying to live right?
So
stay by the law. Live by the tenets of the law.
So we are also telling them, if the pardon is done appropriately, in the sense that, look, you have been investigated to have turned a new leaf. You have been humble. You are regretful of the things you have done. And that's what leads to pardon. Not to be pardoned politically or legalistically by when some lawyer begin to pay money to get some food. Because I've heard of cases whereby somebody says, don't worry, we'll write for pardon after some years because we want to get you out. But we should justify every act we do in terms of this pardoning. The committee that passed this thing, did the president see these people? Some of these things the president does not. He just put his signature on it. There's a committee that's supposed to do that. Did they do the yeoman's job? If it's well done, kudos. And if it's not well done, we will question it.
No, but the saying that the president, they just brought the list and the president just assented the list sounds somehow. Yes.
To president's
so what's the president's job? So they bring anything to you and you append your signature and
so the committee that you set up is your brain behind that deal. The presidency is not an apparatus.
I'm not disputing that.
It's a big table.
I am the president. I set up a committee to look into a particular matter.
Yeah.
And they bring their reports.
Yeah.
When they bring their reports and they tell me, sir, this is the final, we just need your approval. And I just pick up my pen and I just bring out the report and I just do.
So now, if they didn't tell you about, if you didn't say this pardon, how many of the criminals there do you know about on the list? So hold on. You know what I'm asking you, because the president too might be as novice as I am on some of the names there. So the committee is supposed to do that. The committee is for Nigeria, not for the president.
No. This is not an excuse. What takes me? What will it take me? Yes, what will it take? That's where data comes to play. Who are these people?
How many of them are in this category?
No.
How many of them are ex-governor offenders? How many of them are these offenders?
No. It is not an excuse. It is not an excuse.
Yes.
It is not an excuse. You have to take your time and look into the issues yourself.
For example, we had 2 posthumous pardons. Right, Sir Albert Macaulay, who was banned from public office for misappropriation of funds and sentenced in 1913 by the British colonialists. The president pardoned. Now, Major General Maman Jia Vasa, sentenced in 1986 for treason related to an alleged coup plot, pardoned. Now, the argument and the reason why I went to the posthumous pardon was people have said, are these 2 posthumous pardons a way for the president to cleanse the other pardons, many of which actually categorizes criminals, whether found guilty of human trafficking, drug-related offenses, murder, and so on and so forth. The Ogoniland cleansing is actually worth mentioning too. There was some pardon in that light. So when you look at this very critically, there is no way the president would say they brought it, a committee sat on this, advised him, and he just said no. He must have asked questions. I think that's what I would expect of a democratically elected president of Nigeria. And I'm going to be moving very quickly away from this topic to finally pay some tribute again to Somi Sontochukwu of Arise News, as Arise News did hold a night of tribute in our honor. And there was some poetry, or do I say spoken word, by her goddaughter that did emphasize, and it's the reason I'm actually it on, that did emphasize the fact that she did not jump, she slipped off the railing she was trying to use to access another part of the building. And equally that the medical officials could do a better job. and not say she was brought in dead. Now, all of these things are still subject to further, analysis, probe, as it's now ongoing. But of course, I do pray for the repose of the soul of Sumi, as we do now move into the top stories of the day. Our first top story is fuel crisis deepens. Marketers blame depots as petrol hits 1,000 naira per litre. And the second story is opposition split as NASS plans general election shift to 2026. Mathematics no longer admission prerequisites for arts and humanities students, says FG. So to the first story, where Nigeria's fuel crisis has worsened, with petrol now selling between 920 and 1,000 naira per litre in cities such as Lagos, Abuja and Sokoto. The surges are linked to supply disruptions and production hitches at the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, the same refinery that we've all waited for as the solution to Nigeria's petrol import dependence. In reaction, independent petroleum marketers are now seeking government approval to import petrol on their own, arguing that Dangote's monopoly over supply has distorted market pricing. Industry data shows that the pump price has risen as well by over 200% since fuel subsidy removal in May 2023, with transport costs spiking 45% and inflation climbing to 3.25% as of September 2025, its highest level in nearly 3 decades. The situation has triggered renewed debates over deregulation, energy pricing, transparency, and the role of private monopolies in Nigeria's oil sector. But I guess maybe the biggest question to begin with, Aliyu and Owosu, is if at 1,000 naira per litre, it would be okay to then ask who is benefiting from Nigeria's deregulated fuel system.
Yeah.
Are we the consumers? Are the marketers? Is the government?
We are back at this,
Yeah,
and is really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. This is the same Dangote refineries that some petroleum regulatory organizations are having issues with one way or the other. Now, let's just look at it this way. If Dangote is having just this small hitch, just imagine what would have happened to us as Nigerians if this refinery is not working. The federal government of Nigeria has been unable to fix our refineries.
Yes.
And this one that is working, that there's an assurance that it can cater for Nigerians, and we will no longer have issues of, let's just look at it. Since the refinery started working optimally, we've not been having long queues
as we used to. Yes.
We've not been having long queues. This is why I will continue to say that the federal government of Nigeria has a very, very big work on their hands to make sure that Dangote refinery succeeds against all odds. I am for Dangote refinery to succeed.
And for nobody.
And for nobody.
Yes, because the other time you guys also came hard against our vice president when he came hailing Dangote. And then you recall, Ali, we had it here. And then we say, so why is he hailing Dangote and all of that? But you have come here today as a very patriotic, ordinary citizen of Nigeria.
The job, what the government have failed to do in past years, which is making sure our refineries work. Dangote has done that.
So what did people too have failed to do?
Hold on, and I
make the refinery work.
And I expect the government, and I expect the government to make sure that Dangote refinery does not stop working.
Does that mean that Dangote is protected?
No, I'm not talking about protection. I'm not talking about protection.
What does it mean?
I'm talking about there are issues. Let's look at the issue Dangote refinery had with Nupeng and the rest of them. And Pengasan and the rest of them. This issue is an issue that the government can just come in. This is what we are going.
That was even still after the government meddled.
They could not agree
They couldn't.
They could not agree.
It is not them. It is
nothing was signed.
Himself that is not
agreeing to.
Absolutely.
Nothing was signed.
Absolutely.
The government should have that absolute negotiation power.
To say
just to resolve issues and make sure they kill it.
While I think it makes common sense what you said, but we would not forget that Dangote Refinery is
a
private
entity.
Yes. So, because it's a private entity, what are the issues?
Okay.
The issues are the things that the government will look at.
Thank you. I'll take it away for now, Nehemiah, and I'm coming to Aliyu. And Aliyu, quite frankly, even if this is revisionary, let's just revisit, right? Just a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did talk about the whole Pengasan. We may resume the strike again. We did not sign anything in particular and whatnot. But then, interestingly, we're at a juncture where Dangote Refinery has a hitch, and it's already, escalating prices here and there. Now, let's look at where Nwosu is coming from, and quickly talk to what the government could really have done differently.
I don't think the government would have done anything differently because it's a litigation. They've also gone to court. So all the government can do is appeal, plead, and look, let's sort this in amicably. Okay, your union, our union, every worker has a right to unionize. But again, I haven't said that when you're coming into that company, you also sign an undertaking that you won't do this, you won't do that. So why come in and begin to do what is wrong? But as much as you have your right, I agree with your right. So let's go to court and deal with it. Government may want to twist Dangote to accept to Pengasin, or twist Pengasin to what accept to Dangote. Let's go to court and settle it. Okay. So I think that would have been able to solve the issue. It's not going to be by fire, by force. You can't force it on Dangote no, because you want to retain. Of course, but now let's look at the issue on ground now. So who is at fault? Did Dangote increase the price?
No.
So is somebody blackmailing or trying to whitewash Dangote within those marketers and so on and so forth and so forth? Those are the issues we should probe so much and look into and ask these questions.
Because the people at the end of all this
inflation thing we're saying that we are praising now.
So this is why I said,
increase in that thing,
the government has to be.
Which was why my big question at the start of this was, who is benefiting? Because it is not until, I believe, we're able to solve or point a finger at those who are benefiting that we may sometimes be able to resolve this issue.
The same thing is issue.
Because, again, the question is, so they're asking, we want to be able to bring in fuel by ourselves. That's what they're seeking permission
so that could be like sabotaging the effect of the
country. Do you think that this is going to fix the issue on ground? Would it fix the price issue if they do secure the approval to bring in fuel?
Is it only
independently? Hold on. So would it mean that fuel price is coming down below Dangote's price?
Are we only looking at bringing down the price of fuel, or also looking at the exchange rates? We are going to put pressure on the dollar and the naira.
Yes.
For me, I think this thing is a sabotage because the same thing is happening to gas. Absolutely. No official increase from anywhere within the market structure. Some people have hijacked the market and they've increased the price and putting burden on the people. And the government is saying we're going to investigate and we're going to come hard on the. I think the same thing should apply to this on the look. Who are those trying to put Nigeria on another kind of burden that is not necessary? Somebody's at it. Some people are working towards maybe. So
it still take us back to the government.
So the government should do the appropriate investigation. It's at the center of it.
When it comes to oil, the oil
because somebody needs to be prosecuted for this kind of sabotage.
Doing something about it.
There is definitely a huge responsibility of the government.
Because we've left the market. Our fuel market is now deregulated.
Yes.
It's on its own, but it has to be well monitored. If it's not well monitored, it will spiral out. The businessman, every businessman is out there to maximize his profit, and you don't blame them.
But it needs regulation. It said something about the price of gas and what's not, and that's not the only thing that has a high-end, price cost. Let's look at food in itself, even though Kemi Abimbola's report had just told us that there is some reduction in actually means. So how sustainable are all of this, right, in the scheme of stabilizing the people who seem to be shouting under a lot of burden? To you, Nwosu.
The thing is this. That is why I said, accountability in governance and being honest with whatever the government is doing. Imagine telling the people to endure, to that things will get better, to endure, and in telling the people to endure, you who is supposed to set an example of endurance. Is living large and buying things for yourself and the rest of it. So it's in the news. It's in the news. So these are the issues. So trust, public trust. How will the people sit and trust this government telling them to endure, to look at these things? Now, we have not, there is no, the way we are looking at things, the policies are there. How is these policies affecting the lives of ordinary Nigerians positively?
So you seem to be saying the government should introduce a sort of mechanism to regulate the price, fix it, and let everybody align. Whether or not there is a hitch in Dangote today or not, this is how much it goes for.
The truth is, I strongly believe that a group of persons that are interested in sabotaging what Dangote is doing.
Next time you're on this show, please bring the proof.
That's what I said. No.
You said you strongly believe.
It's my belief. It's my belief.
I have a duty to inform by asking a
Of course. I can form a belief due to whatever I see happening around me, data and everything happening around me. I can form a belief. But the truth is this. But the truth is this. If we look at it, immediately they are making a request for approval to import fuel.
Yeah. So
are you fingering how? Because I believe that they have been unable to import fuel has affected them so much, and they feel that Dangote is responsible.
You're good with your conspiracy theory.
Because if you look at all this. There's a Yoruba adage that says.
So you see this as a setup. But this is a simple glitch. If you see it as a setup, are you saying they were the one who caused the
No, hold on.
Because that's when I can make sense of this.
The thing is this. They don't want Dangote to succeed, my opinion. So whatever happens, whichever way, this is Nigeria.
I'm taking this away. Ali, thank you so much. So we go to the next story today, and it is pole shifting. Well, it seems to be a controversy at this point, but of course, opposition parties plead ahead of the 2027 elections. There is a proposed amendment to the 2022 Electoral Act, which has sparked fierce political debate. The draft bill seeks to shift Nigeria's election timetable from, of course, the regular, we've been anticipating 2027. Electoral analysts warn that the shift could alter campaign funding timelines, party primaries, and INEC's operational calendar, with far-reaching implications for Nigeria's democratic process. Well, packaging. Is it buying more time for the President Bola Tinubu? What exactly is this? I think I'm as desperate as every Nigerian to understand. Why didn't we bring it up before now? Why is it coming just now? When every
the amendment has been in motion for quite a while. It's not just new for this present government. They've been working towards bringing it so that they can have 185 days, so that you can clear all litigations before swearing in. It's fair if you can achieve that, but would it be this year? I think this kind of thing should not be done. Should be done maybe at the when the house comes earlier, so that everybody can be on the same mark for the race for the election coming next year. So if they bring it to bear maybe now or next year, I think that's why the oppositions are crying foul that look, no, we are not prepared. It's going to be advantageous, but they should all know they're all on the mark. Because even those who are making these bills or way of trying to work these things out, they're also going to go to election.
They're also going to adjust. Everybody has to adjust.
So everybody, because from day one, you should have prepared your mind that, look, what comes, what I want to context. So put everything in there. I don't say they are not wrong. I don't say they are not right. I'm saying, is it laudable? Can we give it a chance? Because there are other things also they want to amend, like the mandatory live transmission. The compulsory registration for it. See, it's a beautiful one if we all put hand to it and say, okay, we're going to shift the landmark now. Let's shift it now together and agree. There must be an agreement between all of them to move the landmark to where they want it to. I don't see anything wrong in it. I just.
But seeing as we are just undergoing, thank you, Ali. Seeing as we are just undergoing the screening of the new INEC chair, right? So this man is going to take over. It's going to need some time to stabilize, you know, and put his house in order. And then be able to steer the course of our next election, which is to be in less than 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, can we practically look at the need to implement this at this time, seeing as the last election, right, we figured, oh, INEC didn't have enough time, this, yada, yada, yada. But recall that we've had by-elections after that, and we've still seen the repeat of some of the issues that plagued us in our general elections. In the case where you could argue, so, we are only preparing for one state's election, why do we still have this and that? When we were having a general election, we said, oh, the volume of the election, the weight of what's on ground. But equally, if this new man is coming, because, yes, government is a continuum, yeah, we know, but this new man is just coming. We're having to shift based on this election timeline. What are the actual implications for an INEC that we believe should need enough time to be able to deliver on what we expect is to be delivered on?
I think if INEC wants to tell Nigerians that they know what they are doing, 4 years is enough for you to plan an election.
But the new chair doesn't have 4 years.
No, yes, I understand. It is because he's coming in, you know, having barrage of issues to deal with, which the outgoing chairman, you know, oversaw and everything. So I think he should just take his time, you know, look at everything that is on ground, look at the issues. What happened in 2023? Where did it go wrong? The subsequent elections, the by-elections that has happened, what went wrong? What did we get right? What did we not get right? How can we, this is the time frame that we have, how can we address these issues?
Okay.
My people, let us come together.
Yeah.
I just feel that the act that is being proposed,
that is
now being proposed to be amended.
No, it's been amended, so it's now being, we are seeking to align by that act, as it were.
I think,
yes, we're aligning.
The thing everybody is happy about, and we have been praying and, you know, clamoring for to come up, is the mandatory transmission.
Electronic transmission of results.
Live
transmission.
And I also have one issue. There are issues where litigations come up after the elections, and we have issues of the issues where political parties, and the judge will now tell you that it is a pre-election matter. I was expecting these new proposals to, you know, to have something like, can't we attend to these issues before election, so that they won't come up after election again in court. That the judge will now tell you it is a pre-election matter.
I hear you, Nehemiah, because I think one of the laudable things that we need to look at, you know, on this is the fact that we actually do have a situation where it's said that when you take election matters to court, there is a Supreme Court 90 days, you know, by this electoral act must have attended to the case, and it takes just 90 days mandated, and then there is another 60 days if you are appealing. So all of this have equally been factored into the whole 185-day, you know, push for let us bring the election backwards instead of holding it in 2027.
So how about costs?
But yes, cost. But there is a key thing we must talk about before we move to the next topic, and is the issue of, you know, sometimes we don't agree, but there are times there are really laudable things in there. So the early voting and non-compulsory PVCs that are being introduced, for me, I think are a big deal, and it's worth looking at. The pros and the cons, especially for the non-compulsory PVC usage, the pros and the cons, where you are talking to, you know, election rigging and what's not, the pros and the cons of that. However, largely to the early voting, because I think one of the issues we talk about with violence at election polls and what's not may just be resolved. If I know that election is on Saturday, but as early as Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I can walk in and cast my vote. I do not need to wait until a Saturday where everything is shut down. And then we could essentially have, some more sanity introduced into that process.
That is why I will not fully support this call, because you can do election anytime. All you need to do is to be truthful to the election. So if you're truthful to the process, we can start voting today.
Of course.
We can start voting today for the 27th. We can start. If you give us, we'll vote, and you start counting. If it's transparent.
Provided we have met all the
everything. So for me, bringing it anywhere, anytime, I like Mr. Man.
But we can't start voting until, of course, campaigns and whatnot have ended. I guess the point you're making is because we can start voting way ahead of the actual election.
You can't do that.
All pre-election issues and
because when we have all these elections in one day, the tension is also going to be much.
Yes.
Every candidate is going to be raising his own tension and his own candidate and his own people.
And equally stretching INEC.
Yeah.
Beyond, I think.
Do we have the facilities to run it at the same day? On the same day?
Because I've looked at the by-elections and I'm like, INEC is only doing Edo election now. But what's going on? It's only Edo election. Do you understand? But it's only Ondo election now. Is there any other election?
It is the same thing that we are talking about, being transparent and doing the right things. What you are supposed to do the right things. Plan for these elections ahead. It's not until that morning somebody will stand in his own polling unit and 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, 1 p.m., no ballot paper, no nothing.
And I think it's a good place for us to also say it's time for the opposition party to also align
these are the issues
with the possibility that the election timelines may be moved back.
Even looking at costs, it's because we don't bring too much. When you remove paper,
of course. It will be even more cheaper. And I have an issue with all this, their tech, because in this country we've not been able to unify BVN, NIN,
passport number.
If I want to go and register for something now, I will have to start filling forms there again.
In fact, I have that question all the time. You go to this bank.
So it's another problem. That is why personally for now, personally, I still believe that the stage where we are now, that voter's card
is still required.
It's still required because of all these loopholes.
This puts so much question mark on whether or not we are able to handle the big tech where it comes to our elections the way that every Nigerian would consider it free, fair, and having already represented their voice and vote. So the last topic of the day, mathematics no longer admission prerequisites for arts and humanities students, says FG. Now, for years, admission seekers in arts and humanities, like their contemporaries in sciences and social sciences, have been mandated to have 5 credits. Well, for me, just 5 credits, including mathematics and English, to secure admission into our institutions. But there is a revised national guideline of entry into tertiary institutions, and this has removed the barrier. Now, some are arguing that this has lowered the academic standards, and others are saying, why did arts and humanities students in the first place need mathematics to proceed into higher tertiary institutions of learning? My first question, quite frankly, because I'm not going to put myself in this news, it is just the news, right, is to begin with whether or not mathematics should ever be optional in a knowledge economy. That's my summary of this, federal government's position. Should mathematics ever be left or be a subject of debate? Let me begin with you, Ali. I beg your pardon, Nwosu, because I'm looking this way. But I know Ali is waiting for me. But I'm on purpose, I'm beginning with Nwosu. Should mathematics be ever up for debate? Should it ever be optional in a knowledge economy?
I think my view as to what the education minister has announced is that we know how important mathematics is in almost every subject in this country, and my fear is this: our students, knowing that there are students that hate mathematics.
So many. Most students hate mathematics.
There are students that hate mathematics.
Do not, however, didn't we all
and I think going forward, most of the students who hate mathematics
now can justify it.
They will justify it.
And all you need is all you need is a D.
And I think going forward, I think don't be surprised. We'll begin to have the number of students going for arts and humanity courses.
More students, do you say?
Begin to increase
just because they can circumvent
mathematics. So you
question.
said is mathematics be optional?
Yes.
So should
in a knowledge economy,
should it also be compulsory?
Should it not?
Shouldn't it?
It's a question. You have to
so what I'm saying is that it is not optional, neither is it compulsory. You choose your choice. In the knowledge economy, what exactly runs the knowledge economy? Okay. Is it mathematics? Is it biology? Is it chemistry?
It is knowledge. It is data as we now know it.
So which data are you farming? Are you farming data for farmers? Are you farming data for economics? Are you farming data for psychology? Are you farming data for domestic violence? So all these things, as much as mathematics will take its place in adding and subtraction, those who gather this data, who gather these things, may not even study mathematics. So you just bring the figures and add, okay, today 20 people died, 10 people died. You just write those figures. But in the long run, the professionals who love the mathematics aspect of it, who want to do the Pythagoras theory, who want to find the x, the q, the y, who have gone to that level, will come into play. So in the humanities, in the arts, do you go through Pythagoras theory to become an actor? No, you won't do that. So for removing that bottleneck, for those kind of things, doing admission now, let us be clear about it. Said, for admission into university, for admission into university for the humanities, they are saying it's no longer compulsory. Now, in secondary school, is it going to be compulsory? It's compulsory.
Aliyu, let's analyze. I love where you went. So let's analyze that statement. For admission into tertiary institutions, for non-science students, right?
Yeah.
For those in arts and humanities. Thank you. So let's take it to secondary school, because that's where that conversation matters.
Of course.
Because it is in secondary school that we breed the crop of students that we take into tertiary institutions. What do you think this means for a secondary school student? A secondary school student simply says, you know what, I would not be needing mathematics. So a mathematics teacher shows up in his classroom or a classroom, and then she's partly turns that and says, I only need to make a D. I only need to know enough to make a D. I think everybody requires mathematics.
The thing is, art classes in secondary schools now, they wouldn't be needing mathematics as a subject.
They do. Because they didn't say they wouldn't take it.
No, you don't get it. Yes. You don't get it. This is what this implies.
Oh yes.
This is what this implies.
They would be able to legitimize it and say, I don't need it.
Our students can tell themselves,
I can make a D regardless.
Why do I need it? Why do I attend to attend mathematics? Why do I need
to attend mathematics? You also look at the admission
class?
gap. What do you look at the admission gap? The theory is that, look, we have 2 million students trying to get admission.
Yes.
So within these 2 million, we are able only to net in 700,000.
And we need to get to 1 million yearly.
Because we make mathematics compulsory for some arts and humanities students.
Because we do not invest enough in education.
No. Mr. Liu, I will disagree with you. Mathematics is not our problem. I will disagree with you.
Hold on. We are not saying mathematics is your problem or not your problem. We are saying for those who want to have admission. So the minute you put mathematics, you must pass maths. And many of these arts students who want to come into study and humanities and arts, because of the bottleneck that they must have mathematics. So those spaces are open and vacant in many institutions.
Okay.
So when we remove for admission,
now, presently,
we are not saying in secondary school you can. We can say secondary school you must do your maths and pass.
But we are telling you.
But the minute you are looking for admission, you are going to say no to maths. If you come to, we don't even know all this bottleneck that they are creating. If you get to some schools, jam cutoff is what? Sometimes 130. Sometimes it's 130, and you get to some school they tell you 180 for social course. So you see again that each schools will also want to determine how they want to run this admission. So, but I'm saying, let's give this theory.
That is one of the issues.
Let's give this policy a chance to work. If we say no to this,
you will do JAMB. You will go for post-UME. Schools will set their own. You pay for. You do JAMB. You go.
So we create too many.
So those are the issues that I think that they should look at.
Let me
like scrapping post-jam. Is that what you're saying?
Gentlemen, we have to bring this to a close, and we've got to tie this together. So this is the 21st century. Do we agree?
Agreed.
Or to my right and to my left. We agree.
We agree.
Okay, so seeing as this is 21st century, one of the biggest discourses of the 21st century are the big data, the technology, and AI now.
Yes.
Right? So, if 35% of UTME applicants fail because of mathematics, I think this is the question we're going to answer as we bring this to a close. Do we think the problem lies with the students or with how the subject is taught in Nigeria's schools? Why are we not looking at the base matter? Why are we trying to solve the problem by just a click of the hand? Why are we wishing in the simplest matters when we could actually do the hardest
the question is
at the fundamental levels of primary, nursery, and primary
why are our students failing mathematics
exactly
this much?
Why are they failing mathematics
this much?
And what can we do to improve the law for mathematics? How can we invest better in mathematics education? STEM is one of the biggest discourses in education.
Yes.
In an era where we are funding STEM education, we are saying mathematics would no longer be a prerequisite for
humanities
admission.
And arts.
I understand that, but I say to
humanities
you, even in humanities and arts, and before I say heart, even in humanities and art, we still use mathematics. I'm speaking as a student of both. I'm speaking as a graduate of both. Science student all my life, graduated first degree, agricultural economics and extension. It's a core science course. And in my master's degree, political science, that's in humanities, that's social science. So you could argue I didn't need mathematics, but I can categorically tell you I needed mathematics. So my argument is this, not as somebody who's not a student in Nigeria. I've studied all my life in Nigeria. But to say mathematics should not be made a mockery of. Because in my opinion, I think we're making a mockery of mathematics by saying just get a D to be in arts and humanities. How about, which I think the government may be shying away from, the investing in the love for mathematics, investing in the better teaching of mathematics, promoting love for mathematics.
I know you want to close, but I also want people to understand that, look, some of these bottlenecks we create for admission processes will fizzle out in the long run. Now we are doing post-jam. The moment we have enough universities in this country, you will not do post-jams again. You will not.
We already have schools who don't need post-jam.
You will not even do jam again. So you can just walk into the school and tender your certificate and just tender your credentials, and they will determine if they want you or not.
We have WAEC.
And they will
have NECO.
So
we have which other?
All is because we are putting a lot of bottleneck because we don't have enough.
We have May, June,
we have
November, December, GC.
Same examinations. I think that actually gave options. It gave it gave us choices.
So it doesn't become stuck.
So that doesn't become, if you don't make it this year, you
can't make it
next year. So I think I like that in some sense.
So the same thing with this policy now. So let's make it open a little bit.
Is while it's open, and trust me, quite frankly, I'm not a killjoy to the arts and humanities students who are watching and listening and thinking, what's up with you, Melanie? Do you want to kill our job? No, that's not the point. But I am saying that mathematics is a life skill. It's something we need, whether or not we know that we need them. Because why essentially at the elementary level do we call mathematics quantitative reasoning, blah, blah, blah reasoning? It actually does something to the way we're able to analyze strategic thinking and so on and so forth. Well, all of these things are not cast in stone. These are just my own thoughts regarding this issue. Well, the federal government has said what it said, and where is my power but to just disseminate the information and make the analysis as I have done with my colleagues on the roundtable this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. Is Melanie Ishola, and I've been joined by Adekunle Aliyu, who is and Neymaya Nwosu, who is my G. Yeah, in the middle.